Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Marathon Wednesday, and we've got a request this week. And someone's asked me to do Duran Duran. Now, Duran Duran to me, it's one of them bands that I'm quite happy with the Greatest Hits album by Duran Duran. You know, being a teenager in the 80s, I had friends, especially female friends, that were really into Duran Duran, so their music's been around. You'll see which area of Duran Duran in these albums that I quite sort of like. They're not my favourite band, but I thought they were a big band and they deserved everything they get because they are terrific at what they do. Now, Duran Duran were formed way back in 1978. By Stephen Duffy and keyboardist Nick Rhodes and John Taylor. Remember, Stephen Duffy had a hit in the 80s after he left Duran Duran, and they had a drummer, Roger Taylor. Funny that there's two bands with a drummer called Roger Taylor. And of course, Simon Le Bon and Andy Taylor came in. They emerged from that new romantic scene. They were part of that second British invasion in the US. Very successful band, but in 2022 they were voted. They topped the fan vote for induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But that was the time that Simon Le Bon ran that very sad letter from Andy Taylor saying that he got stage 4 of metastatic prostate cancer. So he's still with us. He's still fighting, and he did play on the last album. So, you know, all our wishes to Andy Taylor, because very good guitarist. I mean, he was in the Power Station as well and done his own stuff. So, you know, our thoughts are with Andy Taylor. Anyway, there's 16 albums to go through today. So we'll take a dive into the album work of Duran Duran. So, coming in at number 16 is the 9th album. This was released in 1997 and it's called Mes Dazzle Land. Yes. On here we have got Nick Rhodes on keyboards and spoken word and synth bass, Simon Le Bon, Warren Cacrulo, who plays guitars, John Taylor on the bass, we've got Steve Alexander doing some drums as well. So the first track on here is the title track, Mes Dazzle Land. Yeah, this is not what I expected. I'd never heard this album, so I just found it a little bit weird and strange. It just doesn't really do anything for me, that track. Then we have a track called Big Bang Generation. Simon's singing is good. There's a good little bits of guitar here from Warren, but it's the horrible drum machines. Yeah, they have drummers in, but it's more programming and it just doesn't sound right. Then we have Electric Barbarella, which Barbarella is another they got their name Duran Duran from. It's quirky. It's got the guitar solo is terrible, not very good at all. Then we have the best song on this album. It's called Out of Mind. It's well structured. It's got some nice harmony singing in it. It's a great vocal from Simon, so it's not too bad. Then we have a track called Who Do You Think You Are? Isn't too bad either. It's quite psychedelic in places. I was quite impressed with that. Silver Halo, a bit of a dirge. That's all I can describe it. It didn't do anything. Be My Icon. This track nearly takes 2.5 minutes to get going. Oh dear me. But when it does start, it's okay. Not the 2 minutes of dirge and get cracking with the song. Buried in Sand, what a load of nonsense that is. I just couldn't get into it. It's all over the place. It's disjointed. Didn't do anything for me. And then we have a track called Michael, You've Got a Lot to Answer For. For some reason, Simon Le Bon's voice is off key. It's not very good at all. Midnight Sun comes next. Another song I just couldn't get on with it. It's a bit whiny. So Long Suicide, oh dear, totally disjointed, not very memorable. I don't think I'll ever listen to it again. And the last track, Undergoing Treatment, it's just unlistenable. I can't get on. Now this album wasn't released in Europe until 2022, and you can understand why. It's all over the place. One decent track on it, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 15, got a 2015 now, and a track called an album called Paper Gods, their 14th. Got a half decent lineup on here: Simon Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, John Taylor and Roger Taylor. Now Paper Gods is the opening track. It's very dancey and poppy, but as I'm not keen on this style of music, but at least it's a good structured song, I'll give them that. Then we have Last Night in the City featuring Kaizella. I don't like this. Very plastic indeed. Just typical voice. Everyone sounds the same this time. Not a brilliant track. Then we get You Kill Me With Silence. The trouble with Duran Duran, they just keep trying to reinvent themselves. Oh dearie me, it just doesn't sound right. You know, they're not this sort of band. They're a new wave band. You can still just update what you do, but that's just not very good. Then we have a track called Pressure Off, which features Janelle Monáe and the brilliant Nile Rodgers on guitar. And yes, you can tell Nile Rodgers' funky guitar playing on it. It is the highlight of the album, actually. Face for Today. This is what modern music does for me. It's boring, same beat. Every track has the same beat, no variation. And that's just a prime example of it. Danceophobia, just garbage. There's no words to describe it. I just didn't like it. What Are the Chances? Best track on the album. Proper song. Well structured, no stupid dubby dance beats. It's just a good song. Sunset Garage. Well, you know, when you first heard this band, you had songs like Planet Earth and Rio, and then you get this. It's just poles apart. Not very good. Change the Skyline. Just terrible dance music. Just doesn't float my boat, unfortunately. Butterfly Girl just doesn't do anything. It's dancey. And Simon Le Bon trying to sing, you know, in dance music, just doesn't right. Only in Dreams, it's got a nice beat. It's a good vocal from Simon. And the last track on here is called The Universe Alone. Yeah, the less we say about that, the best. Unfortunately, again, I didn't enjoy this album. It's too dancey. I don't know if they're just trying to, as I said, stay relevant to 2015. It just doesn't suit them, you know. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 2.5. Okay then, coming in number 14. This is the 8th album from 1999, and it's called Thank You. And it's an album consisting of cover versions of other people's songs. So we've got Simon Le Bon, Warren Cucurullo, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Nick Rhodes and John Taylor. Roger Taylor does do a few drums on here, as well as Steve Ferrone and Tony Thompson. Anthony J. Rest does drums as well. Terry Bozzio does drums, and Abe Laurel Jr. First cover they have a bash at is White Lines by Melly Mel. Here in the original, it's not too bad, I suppose. Then we have I Want to Take You Higher from Sly and the Family Stone. Oh, Give me the Sly and the Family Stone version of this song any day of the week. Perfect Day, Lou Reed. I like this. It's not my favourite version of this, and that was the one we talked about yesterday on The Children in Need. But this is a reasonably good version. And then we have a song they totally muller. One of my favourite songs by Elvis Costello, Watching the Detectives. And they absolutely mullered it. It's terrible. And then we have Lady Lay from Bob Dylan. And for once I'm going to say Bob Dylan's version is far better. Then they do a Public Enemy track. 911 is a joke. Behave yourself. Don't do things like this. Leave it to Public Enemy, please. Then we have a song by Iggy Pop, written by David Bowie and Iggy Pop. Success. One of the better ones on here. I actually like this. It's not too bad. Then we have Crystal Shit, a great song by The Doors, and I think Simon & Bond does a great job on that. That's not too bad. Then we have Ball of Confusion from the Temptations, and guess what? It's definitely a WTF moment. Then they do Thank You by the Led Zeppelin. Oh dear. No! Stop it! Then Drive By, which is one of their own songs. Not very good. Then they do another version of I Want to Take You Higher Again. No better than the other version. That's all I'll say. Yeah, it's got 3 songs on here that are really good, but the rest, no. So I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Really low marks at the moment. So coming in number 13 is the most current album that was released on the 27th of October this year. And it's Danse Macabre. It's a Halloween themed album. It includes 3 new tracks and covers and reimagined versions of older Duran Duran material. Former guitarists Andy Taylor and Warren Kukura appear on the album, making it the first appearance on Duran Duran since Astronaut. Also we have Nile Rodgers on here, and Victoria De Angelis of Manskin feature on here. So the rest of the band is Simon Le Bon, Nick Rose, John Taylor and Roger Taylor, and Andy Taylor is on here on quite a lot of the tracks. First thing they ever go at is one of their old songs, Night Boat. You've heard that sign I say all the time, why mend something that isn't broke? It just didn't work. Black Moonlight, which featured Nile Rodgers. Definitely tell Nile Rodgers has got something to do this. It's not bad. It actually sounds like old style Duran Duran, which is pretty good. I don't mind that one. Then we have Love Voodoo, which is off their 1993 album Duran Duran. It's a little bit better. They've improved it. The guitars sound a lot better. I wonder if that's anything to do. I can't remember who plays. It might have Warren on that, so it may have that sort of thing. But it's not bad. Then we have a song from Billie Eilish, Bury a Friend. A different interpretation of this song from Billie Eilish. I don't mind this song from Billie Eilish. It's quite catchy. So that one's pretty good. Then we have Supernature, which is a Mark Cerrone track. I quite like this. I've heard the original, and it's not far off it. So I don't mind that. Danse Macabre. Best song on the album. Very quirky. And they're sort of going back towards that sound that they had back in the day. Then we've got Secret October 31st. I wouldn't say I'd jump around for joy for this, but it's pleasant enough. And then we have their version of the Specials, Ghost Town. And I've put this sort of happy beat on. No, it doesn't ring with me. Sorry. Then we have a version of Paint It Black, which is the crappiest version I've ever heard of that song. Then we have a Rick James number. Remember Super Lonely Freak? It's not too bad. And then they have a bash at Spellbound by the fantastic Susie and the Banshees. It's not a bad version, but you'll never go any better than the original. Psycho Killer, a Talking Heads album. Absolutely Talking Heads. Ruined. Rubbish. Confession in the Afterlife. It's not too bad. What I like about this album, the new tracks are pretty good. They improved on one of theirs, but some of the covers are not very good again. So I don't know if they've run out of ideas. Is it time for them to hang up the mic? I don't know, but I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 12, we got the fourth album from 1986, Notorious, which is Simon Mabon, Nick Rhodes, John Taylor, Steve Ferrone on the drums, Andy Taylor makes an appearance, guitars as well, Nile Rodgers and Warren Cucurulo. We've got some horns by Matt Golden and Jimmy Mayerlen on percussion. The first track is Notorious. Remember, that's one of the better songs on the album. I like this song, always have liked this song actually. Then we have American Science, not too bad. I like the horns, pretty good. I like Andy's guitar work on this, pretty good. Skin Trade, it's got that 80s sound on it, that mid-80s sound. It's alright. A Matter of Feeling, nice song, don't mind that one at all. Hold Me, oh, the 80s drum sound, you know how much I love it. It just doesn't sound right, even on a pop band. Vertigo, Do the Demolition, Plastic, horrible production. So misled. In 6 years they've gone from an exciting new wave band into this wishy-washy crap. Meet El Presidente, great track. Nile Rodgers, just a great guitarist. Winter Marches On, one of the best tracks on here. Even though it's got the same 80s, mid-80s production, it's not too bad. And the last track is Proposition. It's okay. This album, I know probably a lot of the fans are going, why did you put it so low? I just didn't get on with it in places. They changed their sound. They should have just stuck to what they were good at. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4.5. Okay then, coming in number 11, we've got the 7th album from 1993, Duran Duran, but it's commonly known as the wedding album. I think it may have something to do with the picture. So it's Simon Le Bon, Warren Cucurulo, Nick Rhodes, John Taylor, and additional personnel. We've got John Jones on programming, Milton Nascimento on vocals, Steve Ferrone on drums, as long as Vinnie Cole. First track on here is called Too Much Information. One of the better tracks on here. It's got some nice guitar riffs from Warren. I don't mind that. Now, the next song is one of my favourite songs by Duran Duran, believe it or not. It's the brilliant Ordinary World. What a song this is. I remember when it came out and I thought, what a great song. Great vocal from Simon, one of his best. Then we have Love Voodoo. Not very good at all. Better version is on the Danse Macabre. Drowning Man. They started to do dancey music and you know, what are you doing that for? Not very good. Shotgun. Total minute of garbage. I'm sorry, folks. I just find some of these tracks really, really bad. Come Undone. I don't know what's happened to this band. Listening to this, they've totally gone round from what they were. It's too dancey for me. Breath After Breath isn't too bad. It's actually got a nice tune to it. UMF. I wonder what that stands for. It's not very good. Very disjointed. Not very good. Then they do a version of Lou Reed's Femme Fatale, and it's pretty good. I don't mind that version. None of the Above. Nice harmonies on this. I don't like the drum machines on it. Put a proper drummer in though, please. Shelter. They tried to create their old sound on this, but they had a drum machine, so it didn't work. To Whom It May Concern. I don't know what Simon was trying to sing like. He doesn't sound very good on that. Sin of the City. Very confused track this is. The drum beats all over the place. A couple of good songs on here, but I mean, Ordinary World is absolutely fantastic. But the rest of the album's pretty mediocre. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, top 10. Number 10. 10th album from 2000. Pop Trash. It's the last to feature the trio of Le Bon, Rhodes and Cucurello. So, additional musicians on here. David Campbell was the string arranger. Sally Boyden was backing vocals. Andre Shireen piano. John Tonks on the drums. Olivia Viesa on guitar. Greg Bissonette, yes, on the drums. Decent drummer. And Steve Alexander. No, someone else, not me. Not a bad track actually. Very ambient. It's quite good. Lava Lamp. Another band going through a weird stage of their career. What's this? Very confusing. I don't know what they were trying to do. Playing with Uranium. This one's okay. Got some proper drumming on it. Pretty good. Hallucinating Elvis. Not bad. There's a proper drummer on here. Again, it's not a bad track. Starting to Remember. Best track on here. It resembles a song. Very good vocal. Very simple track. And a good vocal from Simon. Pop Trash Movie. Really ambient on here. There's some nice acoustic guitar on it as well. So that's pretty good. Fragment. What can I say about this? Can I get these 49 seconds back, please? Pointless. Mars Meets Venus. For some reason they've gone back to a drum machine, and you can tell it makes it plastic. Don't like the track. Lady Iain Xanax. Pretty good. Lot the structure. It's got some nice guitar on it. Yeah, it's not too bad. The Sun Doesn't Shine Forever. Great guitar on this. I think it's some nice bits. And a vocal from Simon. I don't mind that track actually. Goodbye. A Kiss Goodbye. It's a bit fluty, 41 seconds. Last Day on Earth. Quite raunchy for Duran Duran. Got a nice riff on it. Not too bad at all. There's certainly some better songs on this album. Still not a brilliant album for me, but there's some well-structured songs. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.2. Time for a drink, I think. Okay. Coming in at number 9 from 1988. The 5th album, Big Thing. So this is Simon, John Taylor and Nick Rhodes. We've got Warren on guitar, Steve Ferroni on drums, Chester Kamen does some guitars, Sterling Campbell supplies a little bit of drums as well. So the first one on here is called Big Thing. Not too bad actually. It's a pretty well structured song. Sounds like Duran Duran. Yeah, not too bad. I Don't Want Your Love, more of the mid-80s sound, smoothie drums, etc. All She Want Is. Some pretty good drumming on here. Now the drumming on this one is, as he tries to go through it, Sterling Campbell. Very good track. Then we have Too Late Marlene. Now this has got a drum machine on it, but it's been programmed really well. It's a nice tune and one of the better songs on this album. Then we get Drug, It's a State of Mind. Very, very generic pop song of 1988. Everybody was doing the same thing, and this is where music died with these sort of songs, in my opinion. But my opinion counts for nothing. Then we have Do You Believe in Shane? Bit hippie hop drumming on it. It's alright. Palmino, very nice song. Nice vocals. It's well structured. Quite like that one. Interlude 1. Why put 32 seconds of nonsense? Why don't you just add it to the other track and make that track a little bit longer? Because it goes straight into Land, which is a pretty good song. And the interlude should have just been on that or not bother with it. And then you get 30 seconds of flute, which should have just been added on the end as well. I just don't get these. You know, what are they all about? The Edge of America, the best track on the album. Really strong song from Duran Duran there. Lake Shore Driving. It's quite a jazzy song. It's not too bad. I think this is one of them mixed bag albums. There's lots of little silly nonsensey bits in there, but when they've gone from a new wave band to just a mediocre band. It's pretty sad, isn't it? You know, I don't understand what went wrong then, but I'll give this an RTO ranking of 5.3. Okay, then coming in number 8, the 12th album now. This is from 2007, and this was released, as I said, in 2011. Following, and this was a new guitarist, Dominic Brown, who replaced Andy Taylor. The album is called Red Carpet Massacre. So it's Simon, Nick, John and Roger, and Dominic Brown on guitars. The Valley. Now, it's got a tinny drum machine on. Why do we need that when you've got Roger Taylor, who's quite... Roger Taylor from Duran Duran is also a very good drummer. Don't need any tinny drum machines when you've got a really good drummer. Title track, Red Carpet Massacre. Not too bad. You know it's Duran Duran. It's got some great drumming from Roger on it. It's pretty good. I like that track. Reminds me of their early stuff. Night Runner, very plastic again. Get the drum machine out. Yeah, don't bother with Roger. Put a drum machine on it. Now, Falling Down, which they did with Justin Timberlake. I actually quite like this. You know, it's not too bad. Definitely one of the better tracks on here. Then we get Box, Follow Honey. Not a bad song. Simon's vocals have changed over the years. They've got a little bit deeper, of course. But he does a good job on that. Skin Dancers, more dancing garbage. Shouldn't even be on this album. Tempted sounds too much like Skin Divers. Sing the same words to it. Tricked Out, a very good track. I like the arrangement. I like Nick's keyboards on this. Very, very good. Zoom In, quirkier songs. Again, it's got some nice little bits of guitar in there. Nice keyboards. Solid drumming from Roger. She's Too Much. Song of lots of harmonies. I like that. Dirty Great Monster. Isn't too bad as well. Got a bit of back saxophone in here, which is an added bonus. The last track, Last Man Standing, it's definitely the last track on the album, Syndrome. Pretty decent album, actually. It's got some good tracks on this. It was an interesting listen because I've never heard much of this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, then number 7. We go to the 13th album that came out in 2010, and it's called All You Need Is Now. We've got Simon Le Bon, Nick Rose, John Taylor, Roger Taylor, and Don Brown on guitar and guitar synth. First track is called All You Need Is Now. Very good track this is. Proper Duran Duran. I'd never heard this track until I listened to it. And you think, yeah, that sounds like Duran Duran without Simon singing. So I think he does a great job on that. It's a really good track. Blame the Machines is next. The sound effects ruin it. Doesn't need it. Being Followed. This is very 80s sounding Duran Duran again. I quite like that track. You know, they've sort of gone full circle. They're coming back to doing that new wave sound. And this is pretty decent, actually. Leave a Light On. Good listen. It's got a nice melody on that. Then we have a song called Safe in the Heat of the Moment that features Anna Matronic. Too dancey. Mark Ronson produced this. And I don't like Mark Ronson. What was he trying to do? Stop it. Girl Panic isn't too bad. Certainly got that new wave feel to it again. Diamond in the Mind, a bit dirgy, doesn't do anything for me. The Man Who Stole a Leopard featuring Kellis. This I don't know why this was a Duran Duran song, because it's more about Kellis. Simon's just doesn't really need to sing on it. It's not very good at all. Other People's Lives, a really nice song this is. Then Mediterranean, a nice song, nice arrangements, and a really nice vocal from Simon. I like that. It's Too Bad You're So Beautiful. Very nice start, but then it just fizzles out. The start of it could have just come off the album Rio, to be quite honest. Run Away, nothing special. Return to You Now, very short track. Some violins. It's alright. And then Before the Rain. Not too bad, actually. Don't mind that. Again, we got some good tracks, but what I found with it, they're not very consistent. Amongst the really good tracks, there are some howlers for me. But I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.6. Okay, then coming in at number 6, we go to the 6th album from 1990, and it's called Liberty. It's Simon, Nick, John, Warren, and on the drums is Sterling Campbell. First track on here is Violence of Summer, Love Is Taking Over. Very, very quirky track. I do like the keyboards here from Nick Rhodes, who I've always considered a really good poppy keyboard player. Comes up with some really nice runs. It's a very, very, very good track. Liberty, the title track, very going back to the things, to the heydays. It's really got that Duran Duran sound, and it's because of Nick's keyboards again. Very good track. Hothead. It's got some great guitar riffs here from Warren, but that's the only good thing about it. Serious, quirky, nice guitar from Warren. Another reasonably good track. All Along the Water. Although this is 1990, they've still got mid-80s production on it. Don't need it. My Antarctica. Like this track. Okay, there's a lot of drum programming in it, but it's Nick's keyboards that really make this track pretty good. My favourite track is First Impression. It's quirky. It's a bit cheesy, but in places. But it's a fun track. Read My Lips. Got a little bit of grunt in this. The guitar riffs are really rocky. Don't mind that one at all. Can You Deal With It? Yeah. Venice Drowning. Interesting. It's more spoken word. than talking, than singing on that one. And then the last track, Downtown, very industrial sound of it. It's not too bad. This was certainly an improvement on that late 80s sound they had. Some decent tunes on here. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. I'm talking far too much today. Right, coming in number 5 then, we got the 15th album, which came out in 2021, and it's called Future Past. It's Simon, Nick, John and Roger. And the first track on here is Invisible. Not a bad song, and it's going back to that original sound. I do like this. Then we have All of You. It's not bad. At least it sounds like Duran Duran, old style. Then we have a track called Give It Up featuring Tove Lo. Yeah. When they bring these people in, they sort of take over. Anniversary. Really good track from Duran Duran. It could have come off them first 3 albums. It's really gone back to their old style. I do like that. Future Past is the next track, the title track. It's my favourite. One of Simon's best vocals in years. It's probably one of their best songs in years. Really, really good. Beautiful Lies comes next, and we've gone back to that early new wave sound from the beginning of their career. Really turned it around. It's a really good song. Tonight United. The blip on the album, it's too modern sounding. The rest have gone that 80s. This is just, yeah. Then we have Wing. Not too bad. It's still got a little bit of dancing in there. Then Nothing Less. Very, very good track. It's gone back to, again, it's more, it belongs to the earlier period of their career. Hammerhead is the next song. Not too bad, but why has it got rap on it? Then we got More Joy featuring Chai. Yeah, I didn't like that one. Falling featuring Mike Garson. That's a nice piano one from Nick on that. Now this isn't actually a bad album. It actually resembles the early Duran Duran period. The modern stuff sort of puts it down a little bit, but on the whole I quite enjoyed listening to this. It did remind me of their early stuff, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.2. Okay, number 4. It's the 11th album from 2004, Astronaut. And it was Duran Duran's first studio album since Pop Trash, and the first to date full album since 7 Ragged Tour that we got a proper lineup of Duran Duran. So it's Simon, Nick, Andy, John and Roger. First track is Reach Up for the Sunrise. Good track, great bass line from John Taylor. I haven't mentioned him too much because he hasn't had much to do, but boy is he back with a bang with this. Great track. Want You More, probably the weaker track on the album, but it's not too bad. What Happens Now, solid track. Great guitar work from Andy Taylor. Another great bass line from John. Really good. Some nice drumming here as well. Then we have the track Astronaut, a quirky track. I do like the acoustic guitar. Pretty good. Bedroom Toys, a funky little number. It's got that Nile Rodgers feel to it. Really, really good. Then we have a track called Nice. Shows off Andy Taylor's guitar work. I've always liked Andy Taylor. It's got a little bit of beef on it. Taste of Summers. falls a bit flat. Finest Hour. Keyboards from Nick are brilliant. Got a nice little bass bit here from John as well. Chains. Very pleasant track. Nice harmonies. These guys could sing, and they certainly can. One of those days. Again, some nice guitar work from Andy. No point of no return. Again, Nile Rodgers is involved with this. Some really pleasant harmonies on this, and a track to end it called Still Breathing. It's quite different and it works. Really strong track. Now, I was quite impressed with this album. I think because it's got the 5 classic members of the band, and they've sort of in their sound, they've just tuned it into what they used to do. And I think Andy Taylor has always been the best guitarist, and they tried to recreate those glory days, and they didn't do a too bad job of it either. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.3. Okay then, coming in at number 3, the third album from 1983, Seven and the Ragged Tiger. The classic lineup: Simon, Andy, John, Roger and Nick. Opens up with The Reflex. Some great drumming here from Roger. Really like this track. I remember when this came out, I thought it was a classic song from them. Always a great track. Like the next track, New Moon on Monday, another classic Duran Duran track. Really like this song. Always have. Then we've got I'm Looking for Cracks in the Pavement. Typical of that material Duran Duran. The nice harmonies. Them great little bits of guitar from Andy. Nick's great little keyboard stabs in it. Really, really good. And then I Take the Dice. This is the start of the change of their sound. And I remember one of the people I used to hang about with was a big fan of these, and he said, that track, she says, I don't know what's going on, but if this is how they're going, I'm going to fall out with them. And she did. she really went off them. I haven't seen her for years, but the last time I saw her, all she listened to was the first 3 albums now. So the next track is called Of Crime and Passion. Great guitar solo from Andy Taylor on that. Then we got Union and the Snake, another classic song. Some great work here from Andy Taylor. Shadow of Your Side. I'm not a fan of this because it was the start of the change of direction. Tiger Tiger. This is my favourite track on here. It's so eerie, and it's because of that wonderful keyboards of Nick Rhodes. Really gives it some depth. The Seventh Stranger comes next. The last track. Another great track. And I think this has got probably one of Andy Taylor's best guitar solos. It's amazing. This album, to me, this is the last of their real great albums. And before they changed direction and all the wheels started coming off. Some great tracks on here, some big hits, and it's just one of those albums that you just love listening to. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.4. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have the debut album, released on the 15th of June 1981. It's just called Duran Duran. The classic lineup, of course. First track on here, Girls on Film. One of the great 80s pop songs. Nice guitar from Andy Taylor, and I love Roger Taylor's drumming on this. Then probably one of my favourite songs by this band, Planet Earth. Great vocal from Simon. Still remains one of the best keyboard bits of Nick Rhodes. Fantastic song. My favourite song on the album. Anyone out there? Solid track. You got a great bass line here from John Taylor. Like that. To the Shore belongs to Nick Rhodes. Some pretty impressive keyboards. Very Sparks. Very Sparks. Very good. Careless Memories. Got a bit of rocky guitar here from Andy. And I do like that. Night Boat. Typical song of the era. Then when they did that rehashed version, it wasn't too bad, but I do like this version because it's part of that thing. And then my second favourite track on here, it's Sound of Thunder, one of the deep cut tracks. The drumming from Roger is absolutely brilliant. You got some great guitar work from Andy and a great bass line from John. Friends of Mine. Not one of my favourite tracks. Then we have a track called Tel Aviv. Wonderful track, some great keyboard from Nick. Great stuff. This album was a really impact album at the time. You've got a guitarist like Andy Taylor who's really a rock guitarist. We knew he went on and did some great rock stuff with the Power Station, but it was his guitar work that really cemented that sound with Nick as well. One of the best albums of 1981. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. But my number one album, and I think it's because it's the one I had to listen to a lot because I had a friend that was really into this album and it sort of grew on me. It's their second album from 1982 and it is Rio. We've got Simon, Nick, Andy, Roger. Additional people, we've got Andy Hamilton on tenor sax on Rio. So it opens up with Rio. Great track, great video to this. Very glamorous, isn't it? Pretty cool saxophone solo on it as well. Then we have My Own Way, one of John Taylor's best bass lines that he ever put down on a Duran Duran track. Absolutely brilliant track. Do like that one. Lonely in Your Nightmare. If you listen to this very carefully, you can hear some really interesting guitar pieces from Andy. Just prove what a good guitarist he is. Then we have one of the big hits off the album, Hungry Like a Wolf. Good little track, very poppy, very popular. Then we get Hold Back the Rain, which is probably one of the best deep cut tracks off this album. It's got a great vocal from Simon. Then another deep cut track on here called New Religion. Another really good funky bass line from John. And you got Nick's great keyboard on that. Last Chance on the Stairway. Pretty solid track. Then we have one of my favourite songs ever. Save a Prayer. That keyboard from Nick is brilliant all the way through. Holds the track together. It's ambient. Very, very good, and it shows Simon's great vocal range on it as well. Then we have the last track is The Chauffeur, typical sort of 80s sounding funky track. Great track to end the album. My favourite album, but the critics panned it at the time. It's got some great deep cut tracks. It's got probably the best deep cut tracks from Duran Duran on it. It's got one of my favourite songs on it. Hungry Like a Wolf as well is pretty good. Rio, one of the best videos. And I think it was the album that one of my friends played all the time. So I got used to it. And when I listen to it now, because I still listen to it, and it always reminds me of that summer. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. So there we go. That's another band that I didn't know much about their album stuff. It was quite an eye-opener for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really do. I always enjoy doing these rankings of bands that I don't know much about their album stuff. So I can't even remember who asked for it. It's been asked for a little while, but we hung on because of the new album coming out. So yeah, really good. That's all for today. This one takes forever to render and all that. But tomorrow we have got the clash of two titans in Battle Royale. With Pet Sounds, we've got Vinyl Dale, we know him as Simon, going up against another giant of the BC, Stevie's vinyl cover, and the man that knows all about The Who, and he's got Quadrophenia. It's the Clash of the Titans, it's the tile around, and it's going to be a good one, and it's going to be pretty close, I think. This is going to be a real close because they have two great albums. And also tomorrow we are going to go down a trip, a wander on the sidewalk, and we're going to look at the top 10 singles for November the 16th, 1956. And also tomorrow we have got a birthday top 10, and this is for Becky. Now Becky is from America, so last year she had the US top 10, but tomorrow I'm going to tell her all about the UK top 10 for the day she was born, and the year it was 1974. So don't give out her age, or just go what the year she was born. So you're going to get the UK top 10 for you tomorrow as well. That's going to be a busy day. Plus we've got the live stream where we will be unveiling this, the mystery album. So have a great day everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.